Hey guys, it is Dungeon Master Mark. Wanted to do a quick video that a couple people have asked for on Facebook and then on my YouTube channel. And that is going to be, we're going to be going over the Starfinder gaming system from Pathfinder that's going to be coming out next summer in 2017 from Paizo. So for those of you who have not seen the Paizo panel from PaizoCon, they announced a couple new products. The big thing, of course, at the end of the panel was the Starfinder role-playing game, which is going to be based off Pathfinder, so it's going to be D20 compatible. And it's going to be what they call science fantasy. So it is going to have magic. It's going to have like FTL, like star travel, spaceships, faster than light travel. You're still going to have aliens. You're going to have robots, androids. But you're still going to have magic at the same time. You're still going to have the gods and deities, even though they're going to kind of take a little bit more of a laid-back approach, since they're not quite having as much to do with people in the future. And then you're also going to have, of course, space travel. So a couple things they have announced. There's definitely some things they said is definitely going to be in the system. It is going to be set in Galarian, so the same world as Pathfinder, except for in Starfinder it's going to be several thousand years in the future. And then the actual world of Galarian, the actual planet, has disappeared. So they say the gods aren't telling people what happened. So at some point something happens where the world is destroyed, or the world disappears, or it's moved, something of that nature. And so the Galarian, it's basically like a giant spaceport. Kind of think of like the Death Star, where all these people live. So it's mostly humans, but you also have, there's a magical race of like rat people, kind of like the ratlings or like rat folk that live in the space. That's going to be one of the main core races. They have also said that androids are going to be a core race, and there's going to be a non-humanoid core race. So they didn't go into any specifics on what the non-humanoid race is going to be, but definitely kind of gives you some weird ideas. You know, maybe like the gold from Stargate, or maybe something kind of interesting like that. So a lot of different things that they could do. There's also going to be a main kind of god in this particular campaign that's going to be an AI or artificial intelligence god. So imagine kind of like a robot god or an android god, that he is, or that particular god is who gives humans and other people the faster than light travel, or the FTL, so they can do space jumps and, you know, travel around the universe. Like I said, it is going to be science fantasy, so there will be magic and things as well. So it's going to open up a lot of capabilities where you can play games maybe like Stargate, stuff like Babylon 5. You can play games kind of geared towards Star Wars. I don't really see Star Trek being that much kind of that type of theme, but it definitely gives you opportunities to kind of explore the universe and do a lot of interesting things. Now, a couple of the other things that they did make a reference to, I wrote a bunch of notes here, guys, sorry. There's going to be releasing, like I said, Gen Con 2017. It is going to be open game licensed, so there will be third-party content, which they said they've already had a few different third-party companies talk about making products for it. They're going to be doing a new adventure path, and then there'll be new releases every month, similar to what they do now for the Pathfinder role-playing game. So there will be lots of different type of content. So we'll have to wait and see what all type of content that is, if it's going to be like one core campaign, or if it's going to kind of branch out a little bit. They have mentioned that they would like to do Starfinder society events and different types of quests and scenarios. But they said right now they don't have that in place yet. So that might not be directly at the launch, but it said, they did say in a couple different interviews with No Direction, a couple other people, that they are looking into doing that. So, I mean, for those of you who've never played Pathfinder Society, the gaming that you get for those type of quests can be very hit or miss. Sometimes you have scenarios that are more role-playing. Sometimes you may have more that are more combat-oriented. So it'll definitely be interesting to see how those things are integrated. Since it is based off the Pathfinder role-playing game, obviously you're going to have a lot of players who maybe have never played like Star Wars, games like that before, that are going to be coming new to the system because they already know the system. They already know the basics of Pathfinder. So that'll be really interesting, especially having new players. And if they do have the society events, like I said, that's going to bring a lot of new players, especially with organized play. Now, I know a couple people on my Facebook group had mentioned that they thought, you know, that maybe it's not a real great product because of the fact that there's already like a Star Wars role-playing game, things like that. And I was thinking about the other day. Now, you got to remember, Pathfinder does a really, really good job of picking up things that Wizards of the Coast used to make, but they no longer make anymore because, for whatever reason, the Wizards of the Coast didn't want to make miniatures anymore. They said there wasn't, a lot of value in it. So, a couple years later, Pathfinder starts making minis again, and they become huge. Wizards of the Coast kind of gave up on 3rd edition 3.5, and Paizo comes out with Pathfinder. It's a huge hit. I mean, it's, most people I know either play Pathfinder or D&D, and it's, they're the two biggest games in what's in a gaming store. Wizards of the Coast at one time came out with this really, really neat Star game called, well, we're not going to say the name of it because, we don't want to get sued or anything. But this, of course, was made by Wizards of the Coast. Of course, they lost the contract, and they said they weren't really making any money off of those. So the other thing Wizards of the Coast did was Spelljammer. Now, Spelljammer was very unique because it was high in magic. You still had gods, you still had space travel, and then you had fantasy races. So I have to give Pathfinder kudos. Spelljammer was very, very unique. So they're going to allow you to keep, making those Spelljammer quests if you want to. And the interesting thing about the way the Pathfinder system is going to be coming out from how they describe it, it's going to be fairly open. So you could definitely run a Star Wars style game where you're exploring the universe. You could definitely run a Spelljammer type game if you wanted to. And of course, since it is D20, most players who've ever played, 3rd edition, 3.5, Pathfinder, and, even 5th edition is kind of based on D20, so it's be fairly easy to pick up, right? So like I said, it is set in the future of Galarian, so the timelines are not going to quite match. So they haven't said, you're not going to be able just to go in the future in Galarian and find out what happens, to the past, since the planet has disappeared and the gods aren't saying what happened to it. It is going to use some of the information from the Distance Worlds campaign books. That'll be really nice. And of course, it's kind of interesting. I know I've seen a lot of people on the forums have already speculated that the Iron Gods campaign from Pathfinder, which takes place in Numeria, there's a large crashed spaceship. So some people are speculating that we might find out that maybe that is something from the future that somehow sent back in time and crashed, or maybe some type of weird time paradox. So that'll be kind of interesting as well. Of course, you could always make your own campaign and make that something that happens. So overall, like I said, I'm pretty excited. I am not really huge into Star Wars and like the Star campaigns and Spelljammer, stuff like that, as much as some people are. I know there's still a die-hard community out there for Spelljammer, which it was an interesting system. I never got into it that much myself. But like I said, Paizo has a proven track record of making really, really great products. Anyone who's ever seen any of their books, like I said, they're all very, very good quality books, good bindings. It's not like some of the 5th edition books where people were having them fall apart after like a couple months. Good quality books. Pathfinder does put out a lot of content, which some people really like that, some people don't like that, but that's kind of up to the GM as to what content you want to use. One thing Pathfinder also is very, very good at is organized play. Like I said, the Pathfinder Society, not all the players are necessarily great role players, but they do offer a lot of different types of role-playing experience, and that's very, very good. So if they do integrate the organized play, that's going to be really, really interesting to see how that progresses. And then, like I said, the final thing is, I think this type of campaign will be very, very open. So even with the Pathfinder role-playing game, you can play Pathfinder and play in Forgotten Realms or Dark Sun, Dragonlance, which is nice, but I think when it comes to them making a Starfinder campaign, I think it's going to even take it even a step further. There's so many different science fiction genres you're going to be able to cross over. So if you want to make a campaign that's based off what happened in Stargate, Star Trek, Star Wars, there's going to be lots of different ways for you to integrate those things into your campaign. On the same time, like I said, if you want to make your players, who are in Ravenloft, they might get picked up by, someone who's like a Spelljammer. They've crashed on that planet. Suddenly they have a way to get off those planets, and vice versa. So opens up a ton of possibilities. So kudos to Pathfinder and Paizo. Obviously those guys, really, really great design team. So I think it's going to do really, really well. It's going to be interesting to see how well it takes off, how quickly it takes off. I don't think this is going to be one of those really, really small systems. I think there's going to be a lot of people who are going to flock to it at first. And then it's going to be interesting to see how much content is released. So that's pretty much all I have to say for the moment, guys. Like I said, definitely stay tuned. When more information comes out about organized play in that, I will definitely release another video so we can come back and see what has changed, what is definitely released, and how it happens. But thanks for watching, guys, and you guys all have a good night. Bye-bye.